You did it, didn't you? You started your story with a dream. Now, I'm not going to use this video to go in nuclear on people who started their story with a dream. But to me, right up there next to starting with an expository lore dump is starting your story with a dream as one of the worst ways to kick off the events in your story. And this is not to make fun of people who have started their story in that way, because most people who do that are amateurs in writing. So this is going to be more of an explanation of why it's not wise to start a story that way and what could be done instead, because I'm tired of seeing it. And hopefully this video will help somebody who's even considering it to think again. Have you ever started a story where there's worldwide devastation? The characters are in trouble. There's demons running around. There's drama and stakes occurring. Buildings burning down, and the main character is right in the thick of it, about to suffer some heinous stuff. And then his alarm clock goes off, and he wakes up. Whoa! What just happened? And now he's got to go to school. And that is the start of the story. We go to school and we go on his goofy adventures and all that other stuff. Forget about that. That was just a dream. You don't need to worry about that. Or it was in the past and it's already happened. So don't worry about that. You know, we're going to go to a really chill, relaxed school setting where things aren't happening. Only boring stuff is happening. And we're going to set things up to eventually get interesting again, but right now we need to set up the world and all this stuff. All that other stuff that was going on before, just forget it. We're gonna do this other lame stuff now. And that is the biggest problem that I see with a lot of amateur creators, is starting the story with a dream and nobody is there to tell them like, hey, that's not a good idea. Or that usually the place that they started the story in is vastly more interesting than the school stuff that they want to tell. When the creator starts a story off with a dream where there's dramatic circumstances, there's characters in trouble, there's a setting on fire basically, and then we cut to the main character waking up, it's essentially like telling us that none of that other stuff mattered, but it might matter later on. We just have to build back up to that point to get to that stuff. But by this time in the story, most people who have seen this trope have either dropped off or have massively lost interest in what's occurring on the page. Because what was happening before was interesting and it draws you in and you want to see like, oh, what's going to happen next? But then when the next page happens to be like, oh, I just woke up. Whoa, man, all that other stuff. Dang, that was going to be some serious trouble, but I'm just in my bed and I'm going to go to school. Like when it turns out to be that, the interest level inside me internally that feels like reading forward immediately drops. Like page by page by page, I'm just like first it's a steep drop off, like, oh, a dream, okay, well, okay, yeah, okay, let's see where this goes. And then it's precipitous afterward. Like each page that we don't get back to the monsters, we don't get back to the interesting stuff, is another page where I lose interest and then I just leave altogether. For me, it's more extreme because I don't really have any time these days to really take in new stories or stories that I personally don't have a taste for. But for readers in general, I think are more inclined to give amateur stories a chance, especially if the reader themselves are younger or don't have a lot of time commitments. They can really give things a chance and see like, okay, is this gonna go somewhere like really interesting and give me something to look forward to going forward in the story. But 9 times out of 10 for me, I just feel that internally, like, okay, this story is already jerking me around, so I'm gonna give it a few more pages to really like pull me back in. But if it doesn't, I'm gonna have to leave. And that's just me in terms of, yeah, I don't really have a lot of time in general in life. I just got to move on to the next thing. But for you, it might be different. And this is not a knock on any amateur artist. In fact, don't be embarrassed. Like, if you actually started your story off this way, it's not a huge issue, especially if it's your first story. It's just something to be aware of going forward. And in a little bit, I'm going to give you a few solutions to actually solving that problem so you don't make that mistake in the future. A really basic way to think about it is, like, you don't care about somebody else's actual dreams. Like, when somebody tells you a story about a dream that they had that has nothing to do with real life, that has no consequences or bearing on their day-to-day or even the listener's day-to-day life, you want to stop listening immediately, or your eyes glaze over the longer the dream goes on, like, because you already know that it's inconsequential, that there's nothing real about it, and that it's not going to have any bearing on your life in any way. Whereas when that trope is played out in a story, even though we know the story as a whole isn't real, we want to know that what's happening to the characters, especially the main character, is real, is going to happen. So when the fake out happens, we begin to lose faith in the author to tell the actual story, because he's almost letting the character off the hook by taking away those circumstances and making them fake, or making it a past event that happened that he's not fully dramatizing in the moment. So really, the only solution to starting your story without a dream sequence is to do one of two things. Either you make the dream sequence the start of the story. You make that all that stuff that's happening, you make that the start of the story, and that's just the main character's life. We're not cutting to him waking up to his actual life that's actually peaceful. We're staying in the thick of it. We're staying in medias res, in the action where things are happening. He's got to run, he's got to do this stuff, and the things that are happening to him have actual lasting consequences. This keeps the reader's interest, and there isn't that steep drop off of, dang, I just got faked out. There's sustained interest because, hey, we're right in the middle of some crazy stuff happening. I want to see how this resolves. I want to see how this plays out, and I'm interested in continuing the story. The opposite way you can start your story is to start with the chill, relaxed, day-to-day stuff before we get into the crazy stuff that you actually want to tell. Meaning, like, if you want to get us used to the characters first and show their day-to-day life, by all means, go for that. Because it'll have so much more of a sharp contrast when things start going wrong, that having that setting built up gives us more of an attachment to the characters, so that when things do go wrong, we actually feel bad. Like, we actually feel the consequences of what's happening. And I'm not going to put anyone on blast by using their comic as an example of a bad way to start their story. But look at all your favorite mangas and see if any of them start with a dream sequence, a sequence that doesn't matter in the long run, and see, has any story ever started like that became massively popular or well regarded. And maybe somebody can find one out there somewhere, but I'm pretty sure there's almost none that start off with a dream sequence that we jump into the day-to-day life. I don't even know where people got that as an idea of something to do. Like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna show some really cool stuff, some really dangerous stuff, and then I'm gonna make it all a dream. Like, the only thing worse than that is ending the story by saying it was all a dream. So let me give you a good example of how to start your story in a way that doesn't piss people off. Okay, so we're going to take an example from one of the best starts to a story I've ever read in comics, period. The Walking Dead. If the start of this story doesn't hook you immediately from the beginning, from page 1 onwards, I don't know what will. So here we start in medias res, where action is happening. These two cops are in a shootout with a crazy guy, And at the end of the page, boom, one of them gets blasted. If you don't want to flip the page after seeing some stuff like that, I don't know if you're even human, dude. Like page 1, panel 1. This immediately passes the 2-panel test. It starts with 2 characters. They're in a dangerous situation. They're behind a car. There's tension there. There's suspense. Like, oh, they're in a shootout. Is somebody gonna get shot? This guy looks crazy. They're talking amongst themselves like, okay, who's gonna, get out and take this guy out? And then some stuff happens, and then boom. So what should legitimately happen on the next page? Can you guess? A guy wakes up. He wakes up. And he's wondering, what the hell just happened to me? So was that a dream sequence that just happened? Was that a dream that just went on? No. Because he's waking up in the hospital. This was the cop that just got shot. That really happened to him. Now, he's in the hospital. He's groggy. There's nobody else around. And he has to get his bearings to figure out, like, what happened to me? What's going on here? So this isn't a cheat in the way that starting your story off with a dream is, because that stuff actually happened to him. And now he's coming out of the hospital. He's been healed, but now he's in a new situation where, wait a minute, there's nobody around but dead people? That's crazy. And it just stokes in you so much curiosity for what's going on, like what's gonna happen, like what is up with the characters, that you want to keep turning pages just to see what's gonna happen next. It's one of the greatest openings in all of comics. You just want to keep flipping pages to see, like, how is he gonna get out of this situation? Like, this is a place of healing and everybody's dead. And so we just see how he figures out how to survive this situation, and we're right in the thick of it. But how an amateur would start it is like, okay, that's enough of that crazy stuff. We're gonna wake him up. And he was in an actual dream within a dream, and he wakes up and he goes downstairs. He talks to his wife and he has breakfast, and then we're gonna start the actual interesting stuff later on, and we're gonna get him out of that situation there. So avoid that as best you can, because that's a good way to make readers mad. And as much as you can, you want to start with a situation in progress and just show how the character deals with a seemingly impossible circumstance and what they do to get out of it. And I am currently making a comic that did not start off with a dream. It started off with a scream. And it's called Saintly. It is a demon chase horror action comedy about 2 best friends who have to outrun the demon loan sharks that they borrowed from. Basically, it's like Scooby-Doo meets K-pop Demon Hunters without the K-pop. And the story backs the main character into a corner where she has to decide between the hard path to success or lose her soul to the lure of easy money. And we get to see the ramifications of her choice, and if she can hide this deal with the devil from her friend, or if it will tear them apart. And I hope you read my comic in the description and check out the story. It should appear in your email inbox or your spam folder if you don't see it. So yeah, we just hit 3K subscribers and we hit our first 10K viewed video. I'm so thankful to you guys for watching the channel and checking out my comic. And just stay tuned, because we got more stuff coming up. I'm gonna keep talking about a lot of the hidden things within storytelling that doesn't get talked about, because most people talk about how to draw or how to write, but the two don't usually come together in those invisible elements that really bring it all together as a cartoonist. So I definitely want to talk more about that going forward and get into some of that invisible stuff that people don't necessarily discuss in videos about comics. So, and if you want to know the second biggest mistake that amateurs make at the beginning of their stories, check out the link right here or in the description. Peace.